across the stars where the silver trails of drifting stardust shimmered like living rivers of light. Commander Ralix moved with steady purpose toward the legendary celestial diner, a floating sanctuary suspended between shifting wormhole currents that looped across the ancient trade routes of the Orion expanse. The diner was said to exist in multiple realities at once, and its glowing exterior pulsed in soft colors that shifted with the thoughts of those who entered. Ralix had been summoned there at the request of the Xyrillian Council, whose members rarely met with any single human, and whose presence in the galaxy was spoken of with reverence and caution alike. As Ralix approached the transparent walkway that connected his shuttle to the hovering structure, he felt the subtle vibration of temporal energy humming beneath his boots. It was said that the diner bent time around itself, allowing long meetings to occur in the span of a few outside seconds, though Ralix had never witnessed such a phenomenon personally. The doors slid open with a whisper, and a warm wash of golden light embraced him like the welcoming touch of a forgotten sun. He stepped inside, and the air tasted faintly of starfruit and radiant dusk, a peculiar sensation he had only experienced in stories told by spacefaring wanderers. The interior was vast and seemingly endless, with curved tables made of shimmering crystal wood that rearranged themselves whenever a guest sought a seat. Ralix felt the movement around him as the tables sensed his presence shifting and flowing like calm waves to create an open path toward the raised dais at the heart of the diner. There atop an elevated platform, surrounded by spiraling streams of light, sat the Xyrillian Council. The 7 figures glowed with an ethereal brilliance, their tall, elongated forms wrapped in living veils of luminescent energy that shifted in intricate patterns. Their eyes were clusters of tiny star-like motes, swirling in gentle spirals, and their presence filled the air with a harmonic resonance that vibrated in the chest like distant cosmic music. Ralix bowed his head respectfully, though his pulse quickened. He had trained for diplomatic encounters, yet meeting the Xyrillian Council in person felt like standing before the heart of the galaxy itself. Councillor Erindol, the central figure, raised a slender hand and motioned for Ralix to step closer. His voice, when it came, was both melodic and ancient, resonating through the air as though spoken by a chorus rather than a single being. He welcomed Ralix and expressed gratitude for his swift arrival, for the Council had sensed a shift in the cosmic currents, a ripple of destabilizing force that threatened the balance of the star lanes. Ralix listened intently as they spoke, detailing a series of gravitational anomalies that had begun forming near the border of Xyrillian territory. These distortions grew stronger with each passing cycle, bending space unpredictably and threatening to collapse key travel routes used by thousands of species. The Council believed that an unknown presence was attempting to breach the boundaries of their dimension, using the anomalies as openings. Ralix asked what they required of him, and he. Council responded by projecting a vision across the diner floor. The space around them dissolved into a swirling panorama of nebulae and fractured starlight, revealing a dark rift splitting the void. Jagged tendrils of shadow pulsed at its edges, reaching outward like hungry roots, seeking something beyond their prison. Ralix felt a chill crawl down his spine at the sight. The Council explained that these shadows belonged to an ancient predatory intellect known as the Vosk Mara, a long isolated entity from a forgotten era. It had once consumed entire star systems, feeding on the resonance of living worlds before it was sealed away by unknown forces ages ago. Now it sought escape through weakened dimensional veils. The vision dissolved, and the diner returned to its warm, golden glow. Ralix steadied himself and asked how he could possibly aid in stopping such a being. Erindol replied that humans possessed, a rare trait unseen in most species, an intuitive defiance of cosmic patterns that enabled them to disrupt the deterministic flow of certain metaphysical forces. This chaotic brilliance, as the Xyrillians called it, made humans uniquely capable of interfering with the alignment that the Vosk Mara needed to manifest fully. Ralix, though uncertain of such legendary claims, agreed to assist. The Council extended their hands, and from each one a stream of radiant energy flowed, converging into a brilliant sphere that hovered before Ralix. It pulsed with gentle warmth as though alive. This, they explained, was the luminar key, a focus of pure harmonic resonance capable of sealing the rift, if wielded with clarity of purpose. Ralix reached out and touched the sphere, feeling its warmth surge through his arm and into his chest, filling him with a calm, steady power unlike anything he had ever known. The diner around him began to shift again, the walls stretching and blending into a star-filled expanse as the council prepared to guide him into the temporal corridor that would lead directly to the heart of the anomaly. Ralix found himself walking through a tunnel of swirling cosmic light, each step echoing like distant thunder. The luminar key floated before him, illuminating the path. He felt the council's presence behind him, their harmonic voices weaving into the air, forming a protective veil as he approached the end of the corridor. When he emerged, he found himself suspended above the fractured void. The dark rift loomed before him, its tendrils writhing with an unnatural hunger. Ralix felt its cold presence press against his mind, whispering with voices that clawed at his thoughts. For a moment, doubt flickered in his heart, yet the luminar key pulsed gently, reassuring him. He raised his hands toward the rift, allowing the key to guide his movements. A radiant beam of pure, luminous energy burst forth, striking the center of the anomaly. The shadows recoiled, screaming in silent fury as the rift tightened around them. Ralix felt the force push back, threatening to overwhelm him, but he pressed forward, channeling every ounce of resolve he possessed. The struggle felt timeless, and for an endless moment the void shook with the clash of opposing forces. The tendrils lashed out, striking at Ralix with desperate fury, yet each blow dissolved upon touching the veil of harmonic resonance that surrounded him. At last, with a final surge, the luminar key blazed with overwhelming brilliance. The rift shrank, collapsing inward, until it vanished with a final soundless burst of light. The darkness faded, and the void grew still, peaceful once more. The corridor reformed around Ralix, guiding him back toward the diner. When he returned, he found the council waiting, their forms glowing brighter than before. They expressed deep gratitude for his courage and rare resonance, for without his presence, the Vosk Mara would have emerged and wrought devastation across untold worlds. The diner filled with warm harmonics that washed over Ralix like a gentle tide of starlight. Erendal placed a hand upon his shoulder and offered a final blessing of clarity and purpose should he ever again walk the uncertain paths of the cosmos. The tables shifted once more, creating a pathway back to the entrance. Ralix stepped through the golden doorway, feeling the temporal energies settle behind him. He returned to his shuttle, carrying the memory of the council's light and the lingering warmth of the luminar key that had since dissolved into his soul, leaving behind a quiet brilliance. As his shuttle lifted away from the celestial diner and re-entered the star lanes, Ralix gazed at the swirling lights of the galaxy and felt a profound sense of unity with the vast tapestry of existence. He knew the Xyrillian Council would watch over him from afar, and that somewhere across the stars, ancient forces continued to stir, awaiting the day when another guardian might be called to stand against the darkness. For now, though, the universe was quiet, and Ralix allowed himself a rare moment of peace as he charted a course toward the distant horizon, ready for whatever journey awaited next across the boundless sea of stars.